Look at the world around you. What kinds of things do you see? Describe some of the things you see. What are they like to touch and feel? How are they different?
This rock is big and hard.
This flower is soft. Water flows through my fingers. Balloons float in the air.
All these things are different, but they are also alike in many ways. They all take up space, and they are all matter. Anything that takes up space and has weight is matter. But is everything we see or hear around us matter? Is a shadow matter?
No, a shadow does not take up space.
I saw a rock.
Is a whisper matter?
No, a whisper doesn't take up space.
Is a tree matter?
Yes!
There are different kinds of matter. Some are solid. A tree is solid. Some are liquid, like the water in this harbor. And some are a gas, like the gas that fills these balloons. Solids, liquids, gases. Let's look at each of these kinds of matter and see how they are different and how they are alike. These blocks are solids. How would you describe them?
This block has a round shape.
This block has a square shape.
This block looks like a triangle.
All solids have a shape of their own. Some solids, like these blocks, have shapes that are easy to describe. But other solids, like this rock, have shapes that aren't so easy to describe. How would you describe the shape of this cactus? It may not be easy to describe the shape of a cactus, but it still has a shape. A solid's shape doesn't easily change. A nail is a solid. If you hit it with a hammer, it will still keep its shape. This pencil will keep its shape too, unless you break it. Then it will become two solids. This piece of clay will keep its shape unless you squeeze it. Solids are alike in another way. You can weigh a solid. This rock weighs about 1 kilogram, a little more than 2 pounds.
35, 36,
You can do something else with solids.
37.
You can count solids. There are 37 marbles in this glass. How many waters are in this glass?
Huh?
You can't count liquids as you can solids. Liquids are like solids in some ways and different in other ways. Like solids, liquids take up space. The water in this stream takes up space. Unlike a solid, however, a liquid doesn't have a shape of its own. A liquid takes the shape of whatever it is in. You can pour a liquid and it will change its shape. If you pour juice from a pitcher into a glass, the juice will take the shape of the glass. Some liquids, like juice and water, pour easily and quickly. Other liquids, like honey, are thicker and pour more slowly. You can pour sugar, but is sugar a liquid? Sugar is made of very tiny solids. If you look closely, you can see the tiny pieces of sugar. Each of these pieces doesn't change shape. You could even count the pieces of sugar, but I don't think you'd want to. You can't count a liquid, but there are other ways of telling how much liquid there is. You can weigh a liquid just as you can weigh a solid. This glass weighs 450 grams, or about 1 pound. If you add water to the glass and water together will weigh about 900 grams, or about 2 pounds. The glass with the water weighs about 450 grams, or 1 pound, more than the glass by itself. This is how much the water in the glass weighs. Besides weight, there's another way to tell how much liquid there is in something: by its volume. Volume is the amount of space something takes up. The containers you see in a supermarket or grocery store tell you how much liquid they hold. This bottle contains 2 liters of soda. A liter is a measure of how much volume a liquid has. This is a quart of milk. A quart is another measure of volume. It takes up a little less space than a liter. If you pour a quart of milk into a pitcher, the milk's shape will be different, but its volume will be the same. It will still be a quart. Here are 2 different containers, each containing colored water. Which has the most liquid? The cylinder with the red water, or the beaker with the blue water? Your teacher can stop the video here to let you answer this question. Otherwise, the program will resume in 10 seconds. Which of these containers contains the most water? If you look closely, the containers have markings on them that measure the amount of liquid they hold. The beaker contains 500 milliliters of the blue water. There are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. Now let's look at the cylinder. It also contains 500 milliliters. Another way to compare the volumes of the 2 liquids is to pour the blue water from the beaker into a cylinder that is identical to the one containing the red water. This is a weather balloon. It carries instruments that help us predict what the weather will be. It is being filled with the 3rd kind of matter, a gas. The gas in the balloon is called helium. Like liquids, gases don't have a shape of their own. Like both liquids and solids, gases take up space. You can see the helium taking up space as the balloon gets bigger. When the weather balloon is released into the air, it floats up because helium is lighter than air, which is made up of other kinds of gases. The air around us that we breathe also takes up space. You can't see or smell the air, but when this girl breathes air out of her lungs, it fills these soap bubbles. Here's another way to show that air takes up space. Get a glass and put some tissue paper inside it. Then turn the glass upside down and push it straight down into a large jar or tank of water. Then lift the glass out of the water and look at the tissue.
It's dry.
How can this be? Let's take another look. When you push the glass down into the water, the air inside the glass takes up space, and it prevents the water from getting in. Air and water can't take up the same space in the glass at the same time. If you tilt the glass slightly, you can see the air escape as it forms bubbles. Because the air no longer takes up space in the glass, water fills the space, and the tissue gets wet. We saw that liquids and solids both have weight. Does a gas weigh anything? Try this. Tie 2 balloons to the ends of a stick and hang the stick over the back of a chair with a string so that it is balanced like this. What do you think will happen if you prick one of the balloons and let out all the air? Your teacher can pause the video here to let you answer this question. What will happen if you let the air out of one of the balloons? If you prick it near its knot, it won't burst. Look at the balloons again. Which weighs more? The balloon that no longer has air in it? Or the balloon that is still full of air? Look at this lake. The water forms a glassy surface that reflects the clouds in the sky and the trees along the shore. Now look at the same lake in the winter.
It's ice.
The water has changed from a liquid to a solid. Ice is solid water. Water changes to ice when it freezes. When ice or solid water melts, it becomes a liquid again. As the weather gets warmer in the spring, the ice in this stream melts. Other kinds of solids besides ice can melt. Butter melts when you heat it in a pan. Even solid rock melts when it becomes very hot. Hot melted rock called lava erupts from a volcano. As lava cools, it becomes solid rock again. Matter can change in other ways. Spray a cookie sheet with water. Then leave the cookie sheet in the sun for about an hour. Through a process called evaporation, the water will change from a liquid to a gas called water vapor. Like most gases, you can't see or smell water vapor, but the air around us is full of this gas. Most of the water vapor in the air comes from water that has evaporated when the sun heats the surface of oceans, lakes, and rivers. Just as a liquid such as water can change into a gas can change into a liquid. Heating the water in this kettle turns it into water vapor. But if the water vapor hits something cold, like this ladle, it cools and becomes liquid again. This is called condensation. Condensation is the process that occurs when a gas changes to a liquid. The same thing happens in the air around us. When water vapor hits cold air high up in the sky, it cools and condenses around little specks of dust and forms tiny droplets in clouds. When the droplets come together to form bigger droplets, it rains. Condensing, freezing, melting, evaporating. These are all different ways matter can change. Here's an experiment you can do with an adult's help to show another way matter changes. Put some vinegar in a bottle. Then put some baking soda in a balloon. Stretch the neck of the balloon over the bottle, and then hold the balloon up so that the baking soda falls into the bottle.
The balloon blows up.
What happened? When you combine the solid baking soda with the liquid vinegar, they form something entirely different, a gas called carbon dioxide. The gas takes up more space than there is in the bottle, so it blows up the balloon. In this program, we've seen many things about matter.
Matter can be a solid.
Matter can be a liquid.
Matter can be a gas.
No matter what form it takes, matter takes up space. Matter also has weight. We saw how solids, liquids, and gases are different. Solids have a definite shape, and you can count solids. You can't count liquids, and they don't have a shape of their own. Liquids take the shape of whatever container they are put into. Like liquids, gases don't have a definite shape, but they too take up space. Finally, we saw how matter can change its form. Everything we see in the world around us that takes up space is made up of different kinds of matter. You too are made up of different kinds of matter.
Part of me is solid.
Part of me is liquid.
Part of me is gas.